Okay, I am Linda Deir, author of Guided, and I'm going to be reading to you guys from Guided from the tips, learnings, lessons, and awarenesses. You can get Guided on Amazon in paperback, okay, Kindle, and audiobook. So I'm going to be continuing where I left off from 2 weeks ago. A week ago, we tried to do this, and Zoom was not cooperating. But it's cooperating today, all right? So I'm going to explain how this works. 2 weeks ago was the 8th episode of Lessons from Guided. Today, I will be reading from the 137 tips, learnings, lessons, and awarenesses sprinkled throughout my true life story, Guided. Guided is the roadmap for stepping on board at any point along your life path so you too can join forces with your own spirit guides and angels, creating a better life than you could have done on your own. Just when I thought I was done writing Guided, my guides started to wake me up at 1 a.m. every night for 2 weeks, starting from the beginning of my manuscript, stopping me where they added a tip, a learning, a lesson, or an awareness. They told me these would help the reader understand how guidance works in their life. These are like afterthoughts of reflection on what was really going on in my life while I was living it. Living in two worlds, not just this one. This is what consciousness is all about, being aware of what's going on from this greater awareness. In my training, I show you, like my guides showed me, how this works. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to be reading from chapter 11 today. Unstoppable success, first warning. The tip for this one: you need to apply yourself in a direction that you are naturally good at and have a passion to do. Add the help of your guides to the mix, and you become unstoppable. And here's how this works. In spite of being in our early 20s, Alex, my husband, and I at the time had proven we had what it took to run a successful construction business. At least that's what I thought, until we received a notice, a union audit. Alex was scared. I told Alex I would work with our accountant to make the books jibe with the union reporting. I spent weeks at my accountant's office going through everything. It was a nerve-wracking month before we got the formal response from the fine-tooth comb audit from the union, the carpenters union. We were informed that we had no violations, and not only did we not owe the carpenters union any money, we received a refund for overpayment. This was unheard of. No one ever got a refund from a union audit. Around that same time, our union agreement came up for renewal. How perfect timing was that? I informed them that we would not be renewing. After seeing Alex almost agree to the extortion demands of the BA, the business agent, when we met him at that dark, creepy bar, I was concerned that the union BA would show up on the framing job site and pressure Alex into signing up again. There wasn't anything I could do if he did it, so I told him I had gotten him out of trouble with this union audit, but I couldn't do anything if he signed up with them again. He promised not to sign back up. Are you ready for what's coming? No more than a week later, The union BAs show up on the framing job site, and Alex signed right back up. What was I thinking? I was totally disgusted with him. I lost all respect. Alex had lost touch with his personal power and everything it took for us to achieve the successes we had so far. There was nothing I could do about it, and as a result, I was losing interest in helping him. His weaknesses was putting more pressure on me. I didn't understand what was wrong with him because he had been so strong and so focused. I felt like he was leaning on me more instead of holding up his part. It appeared that the stress was getting to him. I already had more than I could handle, so I really resented him for doing that. Even so, I wasn't going to let him derail my ambitions to continue designing and building my homes. In one of our conversations about our businesses, Alex told me that he was envious of my high energy. I want you guys to know something. When you are connected to your guides, when you're connected, it feels like you're in the zone. It feels like nothing can stop you, like you're a horse at the gate. You can't wait to get on with your life. You're not afraid of the work it's going to take. You're connected. It's a high you can't even imagine. So when he was jealous of my high energy, I was just being me, full on, naturally. Okay, not trying to be someone else or trying to do something, forcing myself to do something. Wasn't in the construction business for the money. I was in it because I loved it. Okay, so you've got to follow your heart. He said he couldn't understand why I had so much energy, and he didn't. It wasn't his passion. Really, what was going on with Alex? We met early. I was 16 when we met. I was actually 15 when we met, and he was 16. He always told me he wanted to be a baseball player. Not that he had the opportunity ever presented to him, but that was his passion. He just didn't pursue it, all right? He felt like he was struggling just to keep up. This is what happens when you're not doing what you love. Alex wasn't the only one telling me this. Everyone I worked with in the business either called me a speed freak or a slave driver. They actually accused me of being on cocaine, which was something I would never use. Everyone had a hard time keeping up with me and would tell me my expectations were too high. That's another thing that happens when you're connected to your guidance. Your expectations are higher. You know why? Because you're invested in it. This is your heart that you're following. This is your passion. That's much stronger than a job, all right, that you just get paid a check for. But that's what made him respect and believe in me. Everything I promised, I delivered, and everyone always knew they could count on me. It wasn't hard, you guys. When you're hooked into your passion, it's not hard to be responsible, reliable, consistent. It's not hard to show up every day and do your very best and expect that from other people. And here's the learning associated with what I just read to you. This is a perfect example of people working without a compass. Their guides are their compass, and they aren't using them. They don't even know that they exist. These people think that life is supposed to be hard and that you are on your own, all by yourself in just this world. That's just not true. They claim they lack energy when that's not the problem at all. It's like they're struggling against the current. So no wonder they feel like they're missing something when they encounter someone who relies on their compass and their passion along with their guides. This is when jealousy starts to surface all around you. So I'm going to read the next little caption here that ties into the next learning. In addition to all the ongoing and increasing demands of the framing business, I was determined to continue my home design and building businesses. See, we were already making plenty of money from the framing business, and I was making even more money in the design and building business, building our own homes. But that's not why I did it. As soon as I got the second family home sold and recovered from building the first custom home, I took some of the profit and bought 3 more lots nearby. I designed 3 different custom homes. See, I would have made more money if I just built the same home on all 3 lots. But that wouldn't have been passionate for me. So I designed 3 different custom homes to see how they would turn out. That's why I did it. I wanted to see how these homes would turn out. Building them was not something I wanted to do, but that's what it took to do it, right? So when you find your passion, don't expect it just to be all fun and games. You're going to have to do some things to to see it come to life that you won't like to do, that you won't want to do, but that's what it's going to take to perform on it. All right. I designed these 3 custom homes under my mentor's architect's supervision. That's how I got my architect license. Um, I was an apprentice under an architect. I did it the old-fashioned way. There's nothing you can't do. No, I couldn't afford to go to school. No, I didn't have the money to do it. I found another way. There's always a way. This time I went directly to the bank to get my own construction loans. I had learned my lesson. I didn't deplete my reserves by purchasing the lots outright. The first time I did this, I bought the lots with the home I sold outright, and I had no float capital. I had the seller of the lots subordinate to the construction loans, which meant the lot owner got paid off for each lot when the completed home was sold and had closed escrow that I had built. This gave me the float capital, the money I needed between draws to keep the subs paid so they remained loyal to me. I was driven to design new homes and see them materialize. Something like having those building blocks every day in kindergarten. I used to pay off the kids so I could have the building blocks every day because I had passion. I was so passionate to have them. Okay. You guys, my whole life has been writing on passion. I don't know how else to live it. It's how it started out. Okay. Not that my life was easy, has been easy, but it's been a whole lot easier doing it this way. This drive was so strong, it was like I was possessed. And here's what I learned. Here's the learning that's in this for you. Learning. This is what it feels like when you are being guided. You always have more than enough energy. You're always right where you should be at just the right time, doing the right thing. Imagine that. By this point, I had come to realize it wasn't all about the money. There was so much money in this, you guys, that it was easy to go, whoa. But to me, it was nothing more than monopoly money. I could go out and buy more hotels. I could go out. It's really what it felt like. I mean, I just had to do this so much. I just got the funding by building what I did, and it worked out, and the times were with me. Of course, I was guided to do it exactly at that time. So I did have the funding, right? You see how this works? I was living an unstoppable life because of all the passion that fueled me, backed by my guides. With all that happening, nothing could stop me. I was on fire. It was shocking to everyone around me. It even shocked me. You guys, it's the only way to go, I'm telling you. Okay, then I'm going to read a part of this, of Guided, before I read the next learning, okay? This time when I started building these homes, I knew how to schedule the subs without guessing. They were getting to know me and were much more cooperative. The first house I built with these subs, they made it real hard on me because I was like 21, a girl in the construction business. It was like, you guys, it wasn't acceptable in the early 70s, let me tell you. In addition to already having built a custom home, I also was able to capitalize on my reputation from the years in our framing company business. Plus, building 3 homes at once gave me more leverage with the subs. They knew others would be bidding against them and they wanted the work. Everything was different this second time around. For one thing, the homes were all sold in the frame stage. For another, I made a very good profit from them, and the bank was eager to loan me more money to build my next set of homes. I was really on my way. With the completion of these 3 homes, I thought my, I thought my dad had begun to recognize that I was actually going to be successful in the construction business. When, one day, he asked me to give my older brother, Randy, a job. Randy was a foundation subcontractor, just like my dad. Randy was also whiny and spoiled as a result of my mother's coddling. He was definitely not my favorite person, but I gave him a job because of my dad. I would do anything for my dad. Despite it being a favor, Randy was disdainful about the job. His resentment toward me was obvious. He tended to be a victim, and he complained a lot. For some strange reason, he felt like things had always been given to me, whereas he had to work hard for everything he got. I have no idea why he thought that. My parents, Thanks to my parents, he got a free college education, a free car, and my mother and father built him his home. When Randy grudgingly finished the first job, I paid him and never hired him again. And here it comes. My mom took issue with that, which revealed it was she who had made my dad ask me to give Randy work in the first place. Then, to my surprise, she told me to take care of a family because family comes first. I couldn't believe what she was saying after her non-stop abuse and doing what she could to make my childhood a total hell and attempt to derail my every success. If this was what taking care of family is all about, then count me out. Since I would not hire Randy again, Mom was, once again, angry with me and built more resentment against me. Dad understood why I did what I did and that I was not going to be manipulated any longer. And here's the learning. There's nothing a bully. My mother was a bully, okay, is and always was a bully. There's nothing a bully hates more than losing control. You can push these bullies back. Do not let bullies get away with it. Just take their control away. Okay? They're going to be miserable to you anyway. So you may as well get your power back. Okay? If a bully does lose control to someone, getting even becomes their obsession. As you read through Guided, you'll see that my mom never gave up. She never stopped. It's the strangest thing. It's really hard to stop them, okay? But you can stop them. Most of all, you can keep your own self-respect, your own dignity by not letting bullies push you around. So if you best a bully, expect that they will take another shot at you. Oh, she never stopped. In the meantime, do your best to stay away from them. That was my choice. Okay, and the next one I'm going to read to you is going to be a tip. And I'll read what precedes it from Guided. Even while I was managing my own building projects. I kept up my responsibilities with the framing business. I never let Alex down, and I always used Alex's framers to frame my custom homes. Before my second project even closed escrow, I had reservations on 5 more lots in a nearby subdivision. I was able to arrange the same subordinate deal with the land developer because now I had a track record and a great reputation. I designed those homes and built them in record time. I could have sold them in their frame stage, just like I had done with the first 3 previous homes, but these were appreciating so fast that I decided to build them out and offer them for sale after completion. This not only made me more money, but it also eliminated the hassles of dealing with homeowners wanting to make changes. In addition to being a home builder, designer, and running the framing business, the subcontractors were always confiding in me. Now, this is interesting. This is why you need to stay awake. You need to stay aware of what's going on around you, even though it's when life happens while you're busy living it. Okay, it's what happens, what's going on. This is why it's important to write in your journal about what happens every day. Okay, so you can reflect on it and see what life is really showing you. It'll save a lot of heartache. Okay, sometimes their personal needs would take up more than 10 hours of my time in a single week. That's a lot of time. I didn't feel like I could just ignore them because they were sincerely looking for answers. And there you go. They were pulling on my heartstrings. In many cases, I was as young as their kids, so I was surprised that they would look to me for advice. That's when you really need to pay attention, when it's out of the ordinary. Write it down. It turned out that this would be my next calling in life. Look what I do now. Although I didn't recognize that at the time, you can't see it when you're in it. It's just one thing after the other, only if you realize it. This is how our guides work with us as they prepare us for what's next. They're not, you're doing what you're doing and you're thinking, well, I'm going to be doing this forever. I'm going to do this for, you have a plan. I'll do this for 5 or 6 years. That's your thinking. That's your ego talking to you, your insecurities, okay? But your guides are always preparing you for what's next. Expect a life of change. It's more fun and it's more accurate. Preparing you for what's next, whether you're aware of what's coming or not. And you won't be. Many times you just won't be. That's why you need to write it down. And here's the tip that goes with what I just read to you. Many times you will be sought out for something that has nothing to do with your current career. Pay attention when this shows up. This is what others really value in you and need. You're going to miss it if you don't write it down. You have many talents, so follow the ones that have the strongest pull at any given time because you are being guided to go in that direction. And that's where your strongest supporters can be found every time. Your guides. Okay. There's a lot of these tips, learnings, lessons, and awarenesses. And I'm going to read one more before I stop. And then next week, I will pick up where we left off. And the next one's going to be a tip. And I'll read what led up to this tip and before I read it. Every project I did was unique and completely different from the one before. Each was a new experience, which is what made it so much fun for me. In other words, I could have gone out, and I knew it at the time. I could have gone out and developed subdivisions and just built the same house and just done subdivision after subdivision instead of house after house or groups of houses after groups of houses. I could have built 30, 40 homes at one time and just slammed them out just to make the money, but had no connection to it. But I couldn't do that. That didn't, it, it wasn't where my heart was, okay? I didn't make as much money as I could have made, but boy, was I fulfilled. Okay, each was a new experience, which is what made it so much fun for me. But I was beginning to get tired, and I started feeling like a machine. Now, do you see the first, when they said at the beginning of this chapter, the first warning? When you feel yourself getting tired and you feel like a machine, like you're just, and like, even though I love this, it was, it was, it was so much in such a short period of time. I was tired. And that was letting me know, that was beginning to show me that things were waning. Things were waning. I was waning with it. Okay? It's a hint. If you write it down and you look back at what you wrote, you'll go, oh, it started showing up there. It started bleeding through there. Okay, stay with me. The times had been on my side because I entered this business during an upswing. But then I got the first warning from my guides that there was going to be a real estate crash. OMG. They also told me my marriage was going to end. And are you ready for the third blow? And that Cindy, my daughter, was going to take it all personally. 3 blows. You know how they say things come in threes? Bam, bam, bam. That's what happened here. That's another place when you write this stuff down in your journal, the companion journal, the guided, when you write it down, you'll see it rolling out. You'll see when you're getting the whispers. You'll see when this starts to bleed through from the other side. You'll see it starting to show up. Okay, but you won't see it if you don't write it down. I got that message in 1976, but I didn't know when the crash would show up. I did know it was coming and that it would change everything, because they weren't just talking about the crash here. They were talking about my marriage ending and how Cindy would take it all personally. Everybody was going to make a flip-flop. Okay? Nothing you can do about it. You can't change any of that. It's destiny. And here's the tip that precedes this. When you're guided, the timing of things is no respecter of your convenience. That's the first thing you have to get over. The timing is what it is. Your job is to be open to the truth when it reveals itself and act without hesitation. Can you do that? Can you guys do that? Because if you can't do that, your life will continue to be a struggle. If you can do that, you will feel a little wonky, a little, whoa, wow. You'll feel a little, you'll want to write it down because you want to keep your sanity while you're moving through it, because you can't see it when you're in it. But you guys, it turns out way better than had you done it your way. Okay? Or that you held back. And then you look back at what happens next and you go, oh my God, I knew that was coming. I had that dream. I had that feeling. I had that insight. I knew that was coming. So the train ran you over anyway. Okay, if you knew that train was coming, you would have got off the tracks. But it ran you over anyway. So if you're not using this guidance, if you're not applying this guidance, then this is a good story. It might be fabulous entertainment, but it won't serve any use to you. It's about applying it. And that's why I wrote these other journals. This is my guided journey. This is a guided journal writing system. And this is the system right here, the 3 books. Okay, so once I wrote guided, people came to me in droves wanting to learn how to do this. They wanted to learn what guided teaches, okay? And that's why I wrote these books, so you can do it too, all right? And by the way, it's going to be easier than you think. The only problem you're going to have is trusting yourself. And that's why I'm here. Okay. Okay, so contemplate how guidance is always working in your life. Join me next Saturday February, what's the next Saturday, Rick?
20.
February 20th at 1 p.m. Pacific time on my Facebook page, my Facebook timeline, and my YouTube channel. Use the search term Linda Deir. And remember, you are never alone and always being guided. You guys, I'll see you next week.